July 2nd, 1994 is the show today. Phish, of course, being the band, Spud being the channel member that requested this show. Summer of 94, said many times, one of my, if not my very favorite tour. It's certainly in the top two. Usually it's number one, though. But every now and then I'm feeling a little funky, and I think fall of 97 might edge it out. But that's not the case. It's the best tour they've ever done. Summer of 94. All right, well, according to me, anyhow. And this one felt a little different. This one had songs like Divided Sky, Fast Enough for You, Slave to the Traffic Light. All very great songs, but not necessarily songs I think of when I think of Summer of 94. I just think of like just a bunch of madness, Run Like an Antelope comes to mind. Maybe I'm just too tied to that July 16th show. Maybe that's what it is with the Harpua madness, the Antelope madness. A lot of shows, it's like hard to pick a highlight from this tour, too. It was just very good from beginning to end, and this show no different. But it did have the Divided Sky very early on. It wasn't like wild and crazy. It was more just like them showing off their ability. Tweezer even jammed a little bit, dare I say. It felt like it was just going to ease into like kind of a calm, bluesy jam. Never, and it got hot. It got a little like little edgy to it as well for Summer of 94. Some other, mics with a simple and an IM hydrogen. A little bit of a head scratcher there. I guess they're early on working it out. Oh, McGrupp, another one that kind of, maybe doesn't really immediately scream Summer of 94. However, Maze and a Mike's Groove does. Golgi Apparatus, that's how we started the show. That's the kind of rocker that you would expect. And then they get into that Divided Sky and that second half, the trip home in Divided Sky. Woo! Trey early and often ready to go. So we go Golgi Gula early on here, two of the first three songs. Don't get either one of them a lot anymore. I think I preferred Gula here on this night. Fast Enough for You. Several repeats from the recent 92 show I did. They're skipping forward 2 years here and still a lot of the same songs. While this was a good one, I think I preferred the one the other night with Gordon Stone sit in. Sin of a Mule, the Fast Enough Sin of a Mule move here in this show, and then that's when we get into this tweezer that's jammed out a little bit. Really just Trey. Everybody else not quite sure what to do, but it still sounded cool. Then a nice Lifeboy Sparkle tweezer reprise. So the Sparkle tweezer reprise, all right, certainly not the highlight. Lifeboy, a song that made a brief comeback in 2024, early 25, but appears to be gone once again. So a pretty smoking first set. I guess tweezer, Divided Sky, probably the highlights, I guess. I don't know which was better. Both pretty awesome, really. Then things start to get a little wild in the second set. They open with 2001, and was it the tweezer might have even had a 2001 T? No. It was the Weekapog, I believe. They start jamming 2001 a little bit, and it had a little bit of a Run Like an Antelope feel. So okay, the second set did feel more like Summer of 94. So you open up with that 2001, and that's when we get into the Mike's Groove. Mike's goes into Simple, but then Simple gives back way to Mike somehow, then into the traditional song that I'm not even going to try to pronounce. And then that's when we get the I Am Hydrogen into Weekapog. This is no, they had done it. I almost was going to say, did they need hydrogen to get into Weekapog? But that's certainly not the case. And then the Weekapog kind of went off of the charts. It went off the charts, and then it ended up on the jam charts. McGrupp had this little bit of like, as I was listening to it, I was like, that sounds a little bit like The Landlady. And sure enough, in the show notes, it says McGrupp had a Landlady-like jam. Maze, Page, just like the other one from 92, Trey and Page going crazy. Trey not done. Got started early on in Divided Sky. Sample in a Jar, Slave to the Traffic Light, and then Highway to Hell. Highway to Hell after Slave to the Traffic Light was a nice double dose there. Oh, and then the Rift Encore. Something rarely seen, a Rift Encore. Rarely seen outside the first set, old Rift. So, a show I assume you were at, Spud. I'm pretty sure that's most often you're picking shows that you attended. Holmdel, New Jersey is where this took place. Up there near your stomping grounds. Not near, they were. Near Philly is what I was thinking, I guess. Holmdel, New Jersey. All right. So another good show. 2 for 2 so far. 92 and 94, though. Not like they were going to miss. Taylor Swift album in between. If you missed that recap, check that out this morning. Listen to the new Page album, too. Gonna listen to the new Page album a couple more times. Maybe even talk to it. There's still a lot of day left. All right, guys. Boom. We are out of here. Spud, thank you for being a member. Thanks for taking me down 1994 memory lane. You know, I gotta say, a lot of times when these shows are requested, I'm like, oh, I don't know this show. And then when I start listening, there's always something where I'm like, oh, yeah, I've heard this before. I don't know. I don't know if I had ever heard this one before. Not the tweezer, not that Mike's groove, not the McGrupp. I don't know. All right. Boom. Out of here. Where'd the cats go? Oh, that's right. Kicked them out pre-video.